just so you have some background information, I teach political science. I have no background in radio or web development or audio or anything like that. But I did run for city council up in beautiful Sierra Madre in 2012. There's my campaign manager right there, Mr. Savoy. And it was an unsuccessful bid. We came up 230 votes shy, which is pretty close. I did pretty well. Got in the race late. I might do it again sometime. But my profile in the community was raised up a little bit. And the people who had just started an internet radio station in the town the year before, it was called Radio Fishbowl, just a little one-horse show, 2 guys running it. They asked me that spring after the election if I would be interested in doing a weekly public affairs talk show on their station. And I thought, well, that's a natural. You know, I'm in political science. I'm a political scientist. I like to talk a lot, and I like to get to know the community better and perform a public service, and it was kind of a natural thing for me. So I said, sure, and I think middle of May 2012, I went to a guy's studio in Sierra Madre. We had a former professor of radio and TV at PCC, retired, had his own studio in Sierra Madre. And so I went to him, and we'd made an arrangement, Radio Fishbowl made an arrangement to use his studio and paid him for it. And I did my first show, and it was a success. I got a fairly modest but loyal listening group in the greater Sierra Madre area. And I continued to do that in earnest on a weekly basis from May all the way into August. And then something happened, and I think this is true in all small business startups. There was a moment of truth for the guy who was running Radio Fishbowl. He had to decide whether he was going to invest more time and money in running it, because he was a realtor, and this was his sideline. And he realized that running a radio station is really quite an undertaking. And he wasn't quite ready to make that commitment to take it to the next level. And so he was looking for a way to get out from under it, but he wanted Sierra Madre, which is a very small town and a very tight-knit community. He wanted Sierra Madre to have this station because he, like I, could see some of the benefits to the community for having it. So I got together with a couple other people I knew in town. One of them was the publisher of our local newspaper. And we tried to figure out, well, how could we turn this into a public, nonprofit radio station and make a go of it? Actually continue local programming, some news programming, some entertainment, homegrown entertainment programming, run some music of different genres. How could we make this go? And we all knocked our heads together, and we kind of just started we hit the ground running, I guess to say, in August of, I guess I should be using my PowerPoint. Use this. We hit the ground running in August of 2012. So it was Radio Fishbowl. It's now Village Vine Online. And from 2012 until this day, it's been a work in progress. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. It's kind of that work in progress and some of the lessons we've learned from it and so forth. Before I get into the specifics of Village Vine, I just wanted to talk a little bit about internet radio. I am not an expert in audio, nor am I an expert in video, nor am I an expert in radio of any type, but it's an interesting thing. And this is how you might make this applicable to your teaching, your pedagogy, to your programs here on campus. Podcasting and streaming video and audio is really quite simple and relatively inexpensive. It's really not that hard at all. Especially if you have technical people who can come in and give you assistance. So what we did was we brought some people who are technically astute, who lived in the community, who were willing to volunteer their time. But here on campus, if you wanted to set up your own audio streaming from your department website, from your program website, if you wanted to set up podcasts, it's really just a matter of making recordings and uploading them onto a site, or getting a streaming service and uploading them to a streaming service. Very simple, not very costly. So the fact that we could have a radio station on a volunteer basis in a town of 11,000 is a testament to the change in technology. And it's also a testament to the fact that radio is in fact growing faster on the internet than in the broadcast medium. Broadcast is on the AM/FM radio waves. Internet is on the internet. What's fascinating about this is if you have an internet radio station, it's like anything else in the internet. You're webcasting to the entire world. your broadcast is limited to how far the AM and FM radio waves can be picked up by somebody's receiver. So all of the AM and FM radio stations of any consequence in this country and around the world, they're all now on the internet. And the evidence is that they're getting a bigger listenership now on the internet than they are through their broadcast medium. So this is the future. Not an expert in radio. We have radio experts at this school. They can tell you a lot more about that market, how that's changing, and all the dynamics of it. But it's a fascinating thing. And because I've grown up with radio, right? Grown up with my transistor when I was a kid, and I still have one I listen to when I'm at home. But most of the time now, when I listen to the radio, I'm listening to it on my iPhone. Just plug in find the URL that has the radio station, click on play live, and you just listen to it like you used to run around with the old transistor radio. And that's how most people are listening to Village Find on their smartphones. I think it's a fascinating thing that it gives access beyond boundaries. I'll give you an example. When we were doing Little League games, we webcast 35 two-hour Little League baseball games from Sierra Madre this year. And one of the most fascinating things about that was we had very few people in the community listening, maybe a few dozen. But we would get hundreds, in one case over 1,000 listeners around the world, family of these kids who were in another country, on the eastern seaboard, up in Alaska. We had people in Brazil, we had people in China, we had people in Australia, we had people all over Europe, all over America, listening to our webcasts of these little 9, 10, 11-year-old guys playing baseball, because grandparents and aunts and uncles and divorced parents were able to hear their kids play in a baseball game for the first time. So, and we did this at very low expense. So we went to, I think we started out in August of 2012 with Radio Fishbowl. We were doing maybe 500 hits a month, just a paltry amount of hits. By the end of the Little League season, this past July, we were doing 2,200 hits a day. Most of them. My tech guy ran off on me. He said, tab. I think it was Shift tab, Alt tab. That is one of our shows, and it was not supposed to come on at that time. I hate it when that happens. Well, what I'm going to do is find the file, shut it down. Oh, here it is. Yeah, okay. Where was it? Back to the beginning. Okay, where was I? Reset. I was talking about the capacity to reach people that you wouldn't expect to be able to reach in any other way with live streaming. So we've done live streaming, both audio and video, but we've also done podcasting, which I'll talk about in a little while, which is what I think a lot of you, if you're thinking about integrating this into your curriculum, it's a way to consider it. And maybe some of you are already doing it. You're recording something, video or audio, and posting it on a website where someone can get access to it. The young folks, this is their world. They live in this digital world that many of the rest of us are just starting to become acquainted with. And it really is intuitive to them, or it may not be to all of us. When you show them that you're interested in engaging in that type of medium, they tend to get excited about it. So it's an excellent way to communicate with your students. Just a little bit of a background. Why did we do this? I think there are internet radio stations in Long Beach. I know there was one affiliated with Cal State Long Beach. I know we've had, I think we have one or had one here at the college. But aside from institutions, Is there an example of a neighborhood or a community inside Long Beach who's doing an internet radio station, a community radio station? Maybe, I'm not sure, but guess what? If you're a community group of significance and you want to reach your community and a broader group, what a great way to do it. Create some programming, get a basic website up, and you can be broadcasting or webcasting to your target audience very quickly. So it's something that can be used in any organization or institution, any neighborhood, any community group can stream audio and stream video and do podcasting, really with a small amount of technical expertise. In Sierra Madre, we're small and tight-knit. There's something else going on in this town, which is a cultural thing. There's a very long history of volunteerism in Sierra Madre. As a matter of fact, it goes all the way back to the Congregationalists who settled the town from New England. It really goes all the way back to those roots over 100 years ago. So it's just kind of a thing that you don't necessarily see in all the various neighborhoods of LA County. Sierra Madre has volunteer. How many organizations do we have in that town? Volunteer organizations. I lost count of them. I mean, yeah, I'll give you an example. The library in town, the Sierra Madre Public Library, I'm a trustee on that board. But we rely on the private group in town, the Friends of the Sierra Madre Library, for a huge amount of our funding. It's a private volunteer organization. Just to give you an example of how thoroughly that. So I'm not so sure in terms of developing a community radio station, I'm not so sure how viable our model would be in some communities. You're probably going to have to turn more to paid staff than we have. We are strictly volunteer. We have paid one guy off and on to do some production for us. We now have an intern, but by and large, we're doing this on a volunteer basis. I have over 20 people in the community involved in this who've put hands-on and time into this endeavor over the last year. Some other communities, it's probably going to be about raising enough money to hire staff to do some of the things our volunteers have been doing. So back in May of 2012, I got involved and I started my show. And at the end of that summer, we started to decide, well, should we do this public nonprofit thing or not? What are the kinds of concerns that you would have if you're thinking about doing something public and nonprofit, doing a miniature NPR or something like that? One of the first things you recognize is that getting a nonprofit status from the IRS is not an easy thing to do. Our friends in the Tea Party learned that during an election year here last year. But we were doing this virtually at the same time they were. We made our application for nonprofit status, and we still haven't heard back. It's been almost a year. Because they're obviously the IRS is obviously overburdened with tremendous amount of requests in this area, and they just have a limited amount of staff. So one of the things is you better be careful if you lay yourself out as a nonprofit and then you go try to raise money from people. You cannot give them a tax deduction for their donations to you until you've got that 501c status approved by the IRS. So here we were ready to go out and solicit donations, and we've received some. But we haven't been able to make near the appeal we had hoped to because we haven't had that nonprofit. We are expecting to get that here in the next month. We hope by the end of the year that we'll have that 501c status, and that will help us nail down fundraising. But you have to have other things lined up. You have to have a board of directors because we're incorporated in the state of California, and you have to have a president, you have to have a secretary, recording secretary, you have to have a treasurer. You have to keep very careful books because you're answerable to the IRS. Every dime you take in, every dime you spend, it's all public record. And so that's a considerable undertaking, and it's a considerable commitment by the principals who are involved in the startup. So I had to go out and find people who would be interested, and I found 4 different people, 2 of whom were already working with Village Vine as show hosts like I was doing, and then 2 people outside of the community. Since then, we've expanded our board of directors. We now have 7 people, and they're all fairly significant people who have some. When I say that, I mean, how can they bring something to the table to help the effort? We have a movie producer, literally we have a lot of movie Hollywood types in Sierra Madre. We have a movie producer. He does films for the State Department. He's done work on the A&E channel. He's helping us go into the video side of all this. We have the newspaper publisher in town, and that's obviously an important resource for publicity. And she's going to be doing a news program with us. We have a guy who runs a technology company, a software company. We brought him on because he's been able to give us advice about how develop our website a little more thoroughly. And so you're looking, as you've put together a volunteer group that's going to try to keep a radio station going 24/7, you have to try to find people who can come and provide you with some kind of meaningful input as the project work goes on. So we were incorporated as a nonprofit, and then we got the ball rolling. It was about little less than a year ago. It was like December of last year. We sat down, we had our first board meeting. We sent the articles of incorporation to the state, and we sat down. We figured, okay, now we're going to have to raise money, and we didn't have our 501c status. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to raise money? So we decided to have a fundraiser among the kind of the movers and shakers in Sierra Madre. We all knew some people. So we thought we'd just go out, each of us recruit 20 people we knew who had contributed to other things in the city, and we'd invite them to a big fundraiser in January, late January. That was actually the weekend before the Super Bowl. You have to take those things into account when you're raising money. Do we do it any time within a weekend or two of the Super Bowl or not? You know, those kinds of things. And then we had them at, so one of our friends in the community had a nice house, and we had a big fundraiser at one of those houses. We raised like $1,500, which really was about a fifth of what we thought we were going to raise. But it was seed money. It got us going. We had another fundraiser at a local tavern a few weeks later where we did about that well. So we had some startup money, but not enough to hire staff, and that was really the limiting factor. So we learned early on that if you can't raise, I'm going to use the beginning point at about $10,000, but if you can't raise money, then you have to, through donations, then you have to create a revenue stream some other way. That means you have to find some value that you can get people to give you money for. And our revenue stream was at least, we found people in the community who wanted to do shows, they wanted the publicity, and they were willing to pay us a show host fee. Now you have to be careful because there are companies out there who are doing this, and there are some fraudulent operations out there on the internet who will sell you a show host a spot on their sites, and it's all bogus. So there is that side to all this. There is an underground kind of, there's an underground everything in the internet, right? Everything. So you have to be careful when you go to a company and say, well, we'd like to sell you a space, you know, at noon on Tuesdays to do your show, and you'll say, okay, here's the money, and then you go there and there's no website. So we were able to raise some money from our show hosts, and that was enough to pretty much keep us afloat. And then later in the spring, we were able to raise money through sponsorships and donations, mainly sponsorships. I went out to the community because I'm very involved in Little League. I'm a pretty high-profile person in Sierra Madre Little League. And so I went to companies that had already sponsored Little League, and I went to them and asked them if they would sponsor our webcast. And we were getting companies to pay us anywhere from $100 to $200 a game, sometimes 3 and 4 companies per game. So we were able to raise several $100 a game, multiply that out times 35 games, and that's pretty much what kept our website, our station afloat financially for the last year. In a minute, I'll play one of those recordings. These are the folks you just heard. Out of order. Another question you have, and this is, you know, if you're thinking about this or you're just here because you're curious, how do you fill, this is why I guess you need to bring the experts in, how do you fill 24 hours of programming 7 days a week? Now you don't have to, you could just blank out, you know, midnight to 6 a.m., but there are actually people in the community who are up at those hours who, if they think you are a radio station, they actually expect you to be programming during that time. We found that out. We got a lot of kind of impromptu feedback when we weren't expecting it. So we learned that you really do, if you're going to do this, you need to be 24/7. So we are now using something called, has anyone heard of Live 365? Live 365 is a company, it's up in the Silicon Valley, and what they will do is they will literally create a radio station for you. They don't create the station for you, but they create the programming for you. It's basically a streaming service. So if you send them what you want to go out on the internet, they program it into their program and they shoot it out, stream it out in the internet. So we're using them. We pay them a monthly fee. We program what we want into their scheduler. Their scheduler then automatically shoots it out into the internet. And most of what we program is music. And we've experimented with many different genres in the afternoon, in the late evenings and early mornings, because our talk shows and our live webcasts do not eat up that much time in the course of a week. basically we look at music as kind of filler time to do what we're really trying to accomplish, and that is homegrown news, entertainment programs, and live broadcast. So, music playlists filled things up. Talk shows, we've had several board meetings. We have one person who's responsible for the idea of bringing show hosts in. And this is an ongoing process. We lost a show host this summer. One of our most popular shows was Cam I Am. Camilla Hopkins was a improv comedian who has done very well in the comedic world, and she died of a heart attack this summer unexpectedly. She was like 50. And we just left a huge hole, obviously, in her family, but it left a huge hole in our programming. So we had to kind of scramble around, try to figure out, well, how can we replace that? And we've gotten all kinds of ideas. We've got a poetry show. We've got a news show coming up. We're going to be doing a Boy Scout show. Pretty much we're open to anything, any idea that we think people in our community in the greater San Gabriel Valley might have an interest in. And that could be really anything. So I'm going to open that up as an opportunity to anybody in this room. Anytime I talk to anybody publicly, I say, contact me if you're interested in having a show on our station, because if you can come up with 1 hour of content a week, a weekly show, and it's something that we might be interested in our community, we'd love to have you on. And I'm very serious about that. And I'm talking to academics here. You know, at the very least, you have specialties, and I've heard of some of them already in this series, like Greg's last time in Cars, where you could do something in your area of specialty and just put a lecture up, a video or audio of your lecture up. And that would be adequate. That's all we're talking about here. Because this question of content, I remember when we created our first technology plan here at City College, it was back in '96. I was the co-chair of that committee. And the problem then was creating bandwidth. How would we have enough bandwidth to be able to share text, not to mention audio and video? So we were projecting into the future. What would we need in terms of infrastructure at this college to be able to do that? Just basic text and internet, right? That was the problem then, bandwidth. Content we'll worry about that later. Now we've got the bandwidth. Now you can get anything over your phone. You don't even need a computer or a hardwire connection. So now the question, you've got all this massive infrastructure out there, but everybody's looking for content. Everybody in Hollywood, everybody in Wall Street, anybody in this business is looking for content, because there's just this massive amount of empty space out there in the programming world. So we were open to talk show ideas. And you just heard Barry Rich and Lisa. Barry Rich and Lisa got their start with Radio Fishbowl about 3 months before I joined Radio Fishbowl. They started their show, so they were the longest running show with us. They are now on iTunes, they are now on iHeartRadio, and they are about ready to sign a national contract for national syndication. They just started, they're all three kind of interesting backgrounds. She worked for ABC TV for a while. He's an itinerant poet, and Rich has a little lecture recording business. They're all ladies that live in Sierra Madre. They're all friends. They got together. They started doing this. Pretty soon, their weekly show has become something you can buy on iTunes, and will probably be something you'll hear on not just webcast, but on broadcast radio in the near future all across the country. And that's how simple it is to take an idea, if you have some talent, and use something and make it go in this medium. That gives you a low-cost entry point into the entertainment or news world that never really existed before. In the past, how would you get that? How would three unknowns with an idea, how would they get noticed by anybody who could get them some kind of national exposure? Forget about it. The internet is now giving you that capability if you're shrewd enough in how you market yourself. So that's one of the outgrowths of this project, is we now have a program that's going to go probably nationwide in the next couple of months. What are the technical considerations? Stop me here anytime. I think I'll just calm myself down. My voice is starting to... If you have a question along the way, just raise your hand and I'll kind of address it. If I don't get through this whole thing, that's fine.
Well, yeah. Actually, mine was more of a suggestion. So I grew up in Sierra Madre.
I know.
And an idea for a show, I'm not quite sure how you research it, might be Sierra Madre kids who grew up and did something to make their city proud, right?
Hosted by Trish Alexander.
Well, she'll be canceling. She'll be the next.
I got it. I've got my host. There you go. I'm not putting you on the spot. I love the idea. I love the concept. Yeah.
Because it is a small community.
Oh yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Sure. You know, Manhattan Beach is a perfect place to do something like this too. Seriously, it's the same kind, similar community, differences of course. Charlotte?
Gene, when you talk public radio and you start applying for a nonprofit, keeping the nonprofit, are there some legal considerations about the balance in philosophy? I mean, I know if you're nonprofit, you can be the Tea Party, but if you're going for a public radio kind of a format, is there some obligation for a balance in reporting? Or no, not really?
You know, there's a difference of opinion on our board on that. I'm not an expert in the law. We have a lawyer on the board that has taken a very liberal position on that has the board in, and I'm not gonna, it's not something I've taken a position on publicly, but there's a difference of opinion because yes, if you take a very hard look at the 501c regulations, you have to be very careful about what you sponsor, what you don't sponsor, who you advertise, who you don't. What you take, what kinds of political positions, if you take partisan positions or not. But a lot of that has changed, and a lot of it is subject to this IRS discretion, and that can go any one of different directions. And so it depends on the lawyer who's had experience dealing with IRS using discretion. And this woman has had it, and she says not to worry about it. So now that's not official legal advice. That's kind of off the cuff. Well, this has been my experience. You don't need to worry about it. But we've been pretty careful about that. My public affairs show, I kind of take a neutral position as a host, kind of like a Charlie Rose is my kind of approach. And I'll bring people on from different backgrounds with different politics, and I'll spend an hour talking to them about primarily local issues. I'm hoping to bring some regional people on at some point. But people in town want to hear their city councilman talk to the school board people's talk to the water board guys. I've had all of them. I've had we sit on the edge of the Angeles National Forest. I had the director, the supervisor of the Angeles National Forest on talking about all the we have all these trails that go out of Sierra Madre in the Angeles National Forest, fire issues. So I brought him on. The police chief I've had on a couple of times. And that's been very popular. We've had some burglary problems recently. He's come on to give some very specific kinds of advice on how to deter burglaries. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, Joe, but there's no regulation for calling yourself public and what you can put on.
Well, let me be real clear. We incorporated as a corporation in California.
Okay,
You
so
do that first,
okay.
and then you go to the IRS and try to get nonprofit status. So if for some reason we're denied or continues to be delayed, we're still operating as a corporation. We will just keep our books in such a way so that any money we make in excess of our expenses, we will donate or reinvest back in the group. So we're going to call ourselves nonprofit, whether we get 501c status or not. But that would be very nice because we know that we can apply for grants. You see, the nonprofit world is a grant writing world. If you're 501c, then you have more potential for getting a grant from another 501c or a foundation. That's just the way it works. It's kind of a lot of shifting and shuffling of monies in the nonprofit world. So we have our eyes on a couple of different groups and a lot of philanthropy in Pasadena. And we have our eyes on a couple of the various groups in Pasadena for that purpose. So we're ready to jump on that actually. We've been ready for several months. We're just waiting for the IRS. Look, do you need a studio to do this? Actually, no. We've been borrowing a guy's studio and paying him for the use of it for the last year, but several of our programs are produced at home on computers in people's living rooms. I mean, all you need is a microphone and a computer with the audio software, and you can produce a very high quality webcast that will go out as a podcast or streamed on the Live 365 scheduler. You do not need a studio to do this. We've had one that we've been using and paying for. The exciting part of our station is that we have now created our own studio. We just rented an office in downtown Sierra Madre, and we have just created our own studio. We're going to be doing our first studio productions at Village Vine Studios in Sierra Madre in about 2 weeks, down on Suffolk, down on right below Howie's. So that's very exciting for us. It's a major expenditure of funds. Again, we've had to borrow a little bit of money from some of our board members. We're hoping to get it back with future donations. But to have a studio gives you more opportunity. First of all, it gives you credibility. If you want somebody significant in the community to come and interview you, it's not likely they're going to want to come and sit in your living room for the interview. be nice to come to a studio where you have mics and you have a cup of coffee and a kind of a professional environment. So that was our idea. Let's professionalize this a little bit and make ourselves a little more appealing in terms of attracting people to come. But it's not necessary. It's helpful but not necessary. Audio equipment, you can set up you could create your own studio for, if you have a laptop or an Apple, you just add a software program and probably a set of headphones and a mic, and you're pretty much in business. And then if you can get a website or not. But in terms of audio equipment, it depends on how far you want to go with it. We have in our studio, we'll have a circular table like you've probably seen when you see radio shows on TV. And we have mics set up on booms all around the table, so we can do 4 people at once if we want. And they're all routed into a mixer, which is then routed into a computer. And that's pretty much it. We have somebody sitting over there running the mixer and the computer while the rest of us are just talking. And then that person will go in after the fact, and they can either edit and add things and detract, or we can just go uncut. Sometimes we edit, sometimes we go uncut. If you do it uncut, you can turn this around, within an hour after you do the recording, or you can do it live. It just depends. Most of what we do is we do a recording and then we put it into the Live 365 scheduler and we stream it on the internet at predetermined times. So it's actually a taped recording. We've also done live webcasts as well of our shows. Computers and software, website development. You have to have a website to do this, but it can be a very rudimentary one. We went to just.com. We got a website for $14.99. We pay like $5.99 a year to maintain it, and the software's already there. It's a very rudimentary website. It's the drag and drop software. So you just go in and okay, I want this up there, I want this up there, and then click publish, and there it is. So we have invested virtually nothing in our website. All of our resources and time pretty much gone into the production of our programs themselves, with the idea that content matters more than substance. I'm not so sure it does. I think our website our comments from some people in the community is that it's dated, it's not Sierra Madre specific. So our plans are to completely redo that website. It's just not been a high priority, but you have to have one as a vehicle to webcast your programming. Streaming options and podcast options. You can go audio, you can go video, you can do both. We're now doing both. Audio, you can use the Live 365 scheduler. Anyone here used Ustream before? It's called Ustream. You just go to the internet, go to ustream.com, and for free, you can, if you have your iPhone, turn the video recorder on. If you get the Ustream app free, get the Ustream app free. Do your video recording. Turn on the video part of your camera. Turn on the Ustream app. If you have a website you can send this to, it will come up on that website anywhere in the world. You are now doing live video webcast. It's that simple. It's free. Now, if you want a higher grade service from them, you have to pay in different gradations, starting at about $100 a month, until you get all the bells and whistles. But when we did Little League games this summer, we were doing the free Ustream service, and it worked pretty well. So it depends on what you want to do. We're primarily audio, but we have done video. Podcasts are just the same way. Create an audio file, MP3, or a video MP4, I believe it was what it's called, and just load them up on your website. Anybody can use if you can use a mouse on one of these drag and drop sites, can put an audio file up as a podcast. It takes about a minute. I mean, really, you do it, invest an hour of your time to learn how to do it. That's all you need to do. So it's very simple. Expenses, you could spend as little as a few $100s, but you could spend many thousands of dollars, and the audio people here on the campus can tell you that. One of my guys I know in town has a mic that he spent $5,000 on. If you want something that's super high definition, super prime, you can spend a fortune on it. But you can get everything you need for $500 or $600. All the mics, all the headphones, the mixer board is about $100, $200, depends on how fancy you want to get. Really, audio equipment is not much at all. I was going to show you we did Little League, and the Little League thing was mainly because I'm involved in Little League, and It was just my idea that, well, gosh, what if we actually webcast Little League games? What, would that be kind of fun? Who would listen? Would anybody listen? Would there be an interest? As it turned out, there's a massive market out there. I've talked to Little League in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and they are totally on this. We're one of 2 stations in the country that's doing this. In fact, they don't even have a contract. All their contracts for Little League that I had to fill out and sign are all made for ABC, CBS, and NBC. Nobody's doing this. And you've got all these Little Leagues, all these soccer leagues, all these AYSO leagues, all over this country, where these parents would die to hear their kids over the radio. There's a huge market, for-profit, non-profit here, just being untapped, totally out there. You know, they say fill a need, make a fortune. Fill this need. There it is. Now this is one of them. I'm going to see if this actually works. I don't think. I think. Let me see. No. Let's go back to that. The young man who set this up for me gave me a warning that the Wi-Fi isn't real strong here, so we're pedaling as fast as we can. So sports, this is the home page, and so we have the primary menus up here. And this is the Barry Rich and Lisa show that's on right now. And those are all our sponsors. These are all sponsors I lined up during the spring and summer. They're all either individuals, corporations, or law firms who contributed during the Little League webcast. Over here are all links to live events that we've done in town. The Mount Wilson Trail Race, the 4th of July, the Mayor's State of the City Address. Virtually anything that's of note, we go and we do a live webcast and then we put the podcast up. Let's go up to the sports page. And I'll let you listen to yours truly do a... Oh, look who's there. This is the Division III North Championship. This was the entire Southern California 9-10 All-Star Tournament Championship we held at Teasley. It's the first time we've ever hosted it. And so we did all 8 games in this tournament. We didn't have a Sierra Madre team in it. And this is the championship game between Moore Park and Sherman Oaks. That's the PA guy.
Every day is a great day to be an American. Good evening, baseball fans all over Southern California and around the world. Village Line Online Sports presents live from Easley Field in Sierra Madre, California, the Little League Division III North 9-10 All-Star Tournament Championship Game.
We had about 4,000 people listening.
Features the Sherman Oak 9-10 All-Stars versus the Moore Park 9-10 All-Stars. I'm Gene Goss. I'll be doing play-by-play, and I'm joined by my friend and veteran Little League manager, Jason Young. It's been a heck of a tournament, hasn't it, Jason?
Fantastic baseball being played out here, I'll tell you.
This one's going to be a dandy, I think.
I think it's going to be a great game. 2 contrasting styles.
This guy did color for me.
It's going to be real fun.
About 6 of those 35 games, I was picking Little League guys with a lot of experience to do color commentary. I had a couple guys do the actual play-by-play to give me a break during this tournament. This kind of stressful and 100-degree heat. Sierra Madre is a very hot place.
See the video webcast. A reminder, if the video drops because of bandwidth issues here at Easley, just go to the homepage and listen to the audio radio webcast. It will be clear as a bell for the whole game. No problems with that. Hopefully we won't have any video drops as well tonight either. We've been posting audio webcasts of each game on our sports page, so if you're looking for the replay audio webcast, go to the sports page, not the video bar, and you'll find them. Replays of the video webcasts are on the live video page in the order the games have been played. Running the audio webcast is our engineer Jeff Bruce, assisted by Andrea Aguilar.
We had a 5-person crew at this game, all volunteers. It took an hour to set up, it took 2 hours to do it, and an hour to break it down. So that's a 4-hour commitment from 5 volunteers.
Stopper pitcher, Michael Wallacala. How do you think they're going to slow down this awesome hitting attack Sherman Oaks Field?
I think that what more part, it's really a contrast.
Okay, I don't want to bore you off with the Little League game.
Baseball, they bunt, they move runners over, they try to do.
Since we're at the website, and since I was unable to get it to work out of PowerPoint, I'll do another one of these live events.
Gene, did I understand you that you had to sign an agreement with,
I just signed a contract with Little League.
to get permission to be able?
They're very tough. They're very, very tough. They have all sorts of stipulations about what you can and can't say. You have to share things about their organization 3 or 4 times during a webcast. You can't sell the webcast unless they give you written permission, and then they want a royalty for it. It's quite involved. But I found them pretty easy to deal with. They're not as bureaucratic as I thought, but they do have a lot of stipulations, a lot of paperwork. What you might be more interested in would be what live webcasts of live events that we've done.
You're listening to Village Line Online, serving Sierra Madre.
Let's try this one.
Lower levels of cholesterol are more likely to produce hormones to metabolize, which is good because I eat sugar.
This is has anyone been to the Mount Wilson Trail Race in Sierra Madre? It's a very significant regional off-road run. And it's become a major event in the San Gabriel Valley. And we've done it now 2 years in a row on audio. And this is one of the live events we got more listeners on than just about anything we've done other than Little League Baseball. Because lots of people around the world fly in and run this race at Sierra Madre. All kinds of people from Europe and South America and Eastern United States running in this race. And their family and friends are all over listening, right? So it's not like the local community is listening to this. It's kind of interesting. Our primary Little League audience is not the local community. It's folks connected to the players around the world.
We need the top 3.
So just to set this picture here, we have 4 people running a booth at this trail race in the boulevard in Sierra Madre. We have 2 people doing the commentary in color, and then I'm kind of acting as the runner. I'm bringing over people who are finishing the race to be interviewed, and I'm bringing some of the leaders who put the race together to be interviewed. We've got another person doing that, and then we have our audio engineer there and an assistant. So there's about an 8-person crew at this one. But one of the things you learn about these things is you can't just go out and do a live webcast with a microphone, because there's so many details that 1 or 2 people can't handle that you really need a team to do this. And so it's a learning curve. You get out there the first few times, you'll make all kinds of mistakes. You kind of goof it up until you learn from your mistakes and not to do it again. So these guys were out for 2.5 hours. Fortunately, they were under an easy up and they didn't cook in the sun. Rich is bald, so he definitely would have been struggling.
You're listening to Village
Okay, I know.
serving Sierra Madre.
By the way, this guy who does voiceovers for us is a professional who's just volunteering his voice. He lives in Sierra Madre. He does all kinds of commercials all over. It's a nonprofit, it's a community thing. I'll just come in and so we tape those. We also do. Let me do my show while we're at it. And you can get an idea of what's involved in just producing a show. Village Intersections is my show. And I haven't done a new one since August. I've taken a 2-month hiatus after doing like 60 shows in a period of a year. I just took a 2-month off. So I'm starting a new one this week. But this is the encore show we're now playing on 9 o'clock on Friday and then during different times of the week. And you can get a taste of what we're doing. All the music, all the extras are put in by the editor. Again, volunteer.
Village Intersections. This is Gene Goss. Today I'm pleased to once again have as my guest Sierra Madre Police Chief Larry Giannotti. Chief and I will discuss a variety of issues including bears, burglaries, the 4th of July parade, public safety here in Sierra Madre this summer. We'll be back with the program in a few moments.
And you'll hear PSA. We have people who come in and volunteer to do PSAs. This one is for our library in town. We also do it for the Red Cross, the churches in town, Sierra Madre Historical Preservation Society. We do all kinds of PSAs. We're the principal way in which the library publicizes events.
Sean Patrick Carpenter, reminding you to listen to the Cam I Am Show, Tuesdays at noon, because I said so.
You're listening to Village Intersections with Gene Goss on Village Line Online. Welcome back. Before I introduce my guest today, I'd like to share a few tidbits with the listeners.
So typically in my show, I will talk for just a few minutes, and then I bring my guest in. We do kind of a back and forth for about 45 minutes. We break it up about every 20 minutes and insert a musical interlude just to kind of break up, because any interview show gets tedious after a while. So what can we do to break it up? Well, typically you'd put ads in. If we had advertisers, we'd do that. But instead, we just put music that I've selected or my guest has selected, and we'll finish it out in about an hour. Questions about this? I'm running up against the 1 o'clock deadline. Yeah.
Your money, how much, what's the money going to be spent on, how much you trying to raise?
Well, later in this presentation, I actually answered that question. I would recommend, if you're going to start a nonprofit radio station, that you would, where are we here? There's a lot more we can cover here. I was going to suggest. I would say start with about $10,000. How do you raise it? Well, it depends. If you can find a benefactor who throw $10,000 in, you're in. We've started organizations in Sierra Madre with more money than that from one single donation. We weren't able to accomplish that last year when we did our first fundraiser, largely because none of us really were fundraising experts. Helps to bring somebody in who knows something about fundraising. But if you had $10,000, you could start a nonprofit community radio station and get it going and keep it rolling for a few months, actually for considerable time. But at some point, you're going to have to develop a revenue stream. And that's usually going to be through donations, a donation stream, regular fundraisers, possibly finding sponsors if you can find people who believe in what you're doing, like we did with Little League. And so we pretty much survived on Little League sponsorships. We haven't really tried to sell. You can sell memberships. This is what public radio and public TV do. They try to sell you a membership, and they'll say, send you a coffee mug or something for a $100 donation, something like that. But again, those are when you get your 501c status and you can give them a tax write-off. You have to remember there's a lag time before you can be able to do that.
But you're using this to pay people for production costs?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. We have one guy who, this PCC professor, retired, who had a studio in town. And so we had several of our programs produced by him, including mine, and we literally paid him for the use of his studio and his time. And instead of hiring staff, instead of having an employee, he was a contractor with us. So that saved us, money on benefits and all the rest of that. But we're now doing it without a professional like him. We're now doing it on our own. We're going to have, when I go into the studio, I'm going to have my intern there and my guest. I'm going to run the audio side of it. Andrea, the intern, is going to run the computer, and my guest will sit there and we'll just talk. And really, you don't even need the third person. If I was sitting at the console, I could interview him, but we're going to be sitting there at the table with a cup of tea or coffee or something like that. And we're trying to make our guests comfortable and not put them on edge. Yeah. Any other questions? No?
Do you?
Yep.
Do you ever see getting to the point on your programs or others where there will be call-ins and people able to ask?
Well, we haven't done call-ins, we've done live webcasts. I've done my show live for quite a long time. Call-ins is just, you just have to add another program, another fairly inexpensive piece of equipment running into the mixer board. About $200 investment. You have to be careful though, because we have insurance, you have to get insurance. But if you get call-ins and they say things that are untrue about somebody, and they're saying something it's about somebody who's not a public figure, the fact that you're airing that could bring you into the lawsuit, defamation lawsuit. So you have to be very careful with slander and that kind of thing. And you also have to be make sure if you're going to do a news program, you have to be factual. So our news program is going to be done by the publisher of the Mountain Views News, Susan Henderson. She's going to actually come on and provide news program starting in December. That's been a long time coming. We thought it was going to be up in July. Yeah.
Gene, I know you have the Little League side, have you thought like you have your youth sports slot, deal with because you have Pop Warner and all those things?
Well, you see, that's the market that we don't have the staff, resources, or volunteers to support. I'm saying that need is out there. And anybody who knows how to use a computer, put a set of in my new Little League, I have a headphone mic set, about a $200 headphone mic combination, have the Live 365 software on a laptop and a mixer board. That's all you need to do live video. Now, wherever you're at location, you need a connection point to the internet. At our field, we had Little League install a DSL line, a 1 gig upload DSL line. So that's all we needed to do audio. Some of you have a Jetpack, Verizon Jetpack. If you 4G, get a Verizon Jetpack 4G, which is a cell phone without the phone. Costs like $40, and you may pay like $10 a month to rent it. That is usually enough to connect you to the internet from anywhere in LA County and broadcast to the web using your computer. It's really quite simple and very inexpensive. Anybody who has that equipment and can do play-by-play and can start broadcasting and start collecting money from sponsorships, because people will pay you to do that. I suspect in the future that's going to be a growing industry, and I'm sure ESPN's going to swoop in and try to buy them all up. Yes.
Before this, did you have any involvement in radio?
No. Zero.
It sounds like it could be a new career for you.
Yeah, I'm actually going to I'm doing a demo tape for a very prominent guy, a broadcaster here in town, here in LA. And he seems to think I have some sort of potential. Let's see. We'll see how the demo tape goes. That was not my ambition. That's not why I started to do this. But a few people kind of said, oh, you should do this.
Did you go to any courses on
No.
broadcasting or voice control?
No.
Natural
I've had no
talent.
training. Nothing. Look, it's not that hard. And believe me, if you are a lecturer for a living, if you make your living with a voice, virtually anybody in my profession has a huge head start on the average Joe and Jane because we know, presumably we can communicate. Thank you for coming. I hope that was useful to you.